Hey, I'm Quincy and I'm a radio personality, but just like you, I'm always wanting to make better health choices for myself and of course for my family. Now that's why I've teamed up with my friend Dr. Dean Tyndall and the fine folks of New Life Naturopathic, the creators of new-lifeweightloss.com, to bring you a podcast focused on giving you the information you need to make the best health decisions for you and your family. Now, that's going to be without sway from what mainstream medicine has become. Now, this podcast, Pursuit of New Life, we're going to release one each Friday. And we're going to focus on debunking the mainstream medicine myths now associated with naturopathic, holistic medicine, while giving you clear insight into ways you can make your health a lifestyle and not a jump from fad diet to fad diet. Experts in the fields of biochemistry, chiropractic, physiology, women's health, and much more will weigh in on a range of topics, all designed to open your eyes, expand your knowledge, and bring you to new life. Now be sure to subscribe to Pursuit of New Life on all the podcast platforms, and also follow us on YouTube at newlifenaturopathic.com, and be joining us every Friday for Pursuit of New Life.
Hello there again. Thanks so much for coming by the podcast. This is Pursuit of New Life. You found it. We would love for you to subscribe so you don't have to go looking again. That way it'll come right to you every time it releases each week. You can also find us on YouTube. Pursuit of New Life is through the New Life Naturopathic YouTube page. Make sure you check it out there as well. Tell your friends about it. Lots of good information. And this week, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the testing that New Life Naturopathic is capable of doing and the importance of it. And looking forward to this information. And this one is one I can say I've never heard of, whether it's a commercial or not. I've never heard of this one. So I'm looking forward to learning right along with you, the listener, today. Dr. T, help us out. What is this Dutch test we're talking about today?
It's a new testing that's been developed recently. It's got a lot of great, gives you a lot of great information. Of course, since it's new, you have a lot of, you'll see some stuff on the internet like, oh, my medical doctor doesn't know anything about it, so it must not be valid. And it's actually a very valid test. It gives a lot of really great information. That's the nice thing about what we do. We kind of stay cutting edge and on the keeping up with the new testing, new information, so that we can help our patients get better really quick. So Dutch, the D stands for dry, the U stands for urine, the T stands for test, the C is comprehensive hormones. So basically it's a dry urine comprehensive hormone testing. And what it looks for is different metabolites, and they got it all kind of figured out. And what these different metabolites tell you is different levels of types of hormones that are in your system. We'll show you a comprehensive list of what you're looking at. So the test itself gives us a tremendous amount of information, and it's recommended for women and men because you can check testosterone. And Dr. Stuber is going to go more in depth with this because she uses a lot more with the female patients because they are more hormonal than men are. But for example, like this.
All right now.
Like this test here, like if you're on YouTube, you can see like it gives you like estradiol, progesterone, testosterone, and it kind of gives you some ranges. And then at the bottom of the graph, it'll give you like your adrenals hormones. So you're testing this 4 times through the day. So you urinate on a piece of paper, you let it dry, and you do it 4 times a day through the specific things. And what it does is it measures these metabolites. So like for the adrenals, it kind of says, okay, here's where these adrenals should be in this range, just basically to check for your adrenal health. And then your sex hormones. And then here's a list of a lot of the other hormones that your system makes, your pregnenolone and estradiol and just pretty much everything there.
I was going to say it's very comprehensive, and since that's in the name, yeah.
Well, because here's how the kind of the hormone system works. When you're making hormones, you start out with cholesterol. That's again why statin drugs are another reason why statin drugs are really bad for you. You start out with cholesterol. Cholesterol gets turned into pregnenolone, and then from that it gets turned into DHEA, which then is the sex hormones. And then it gets also converted into progesterone. And from progesterone, your estrogens and your testosterones and all your other kind of hormones are made. That's your kind of your sex hormones. There's other neurotransmitters, but when you're dealing with the sex hormones, it's kind of a cascade effect, as you go through. And so if you're missing nutrients, if you're taking cholesterol medications, if you're doing, again, that evil S word, sugar.
We don't sugarcoat it because of this.
There you go. Because for Miriam's last week. Because what happens when you have high insulin levels, again, this is why we do all the testing that we do, because if you have high insulin levels shut off your thyroid hormone, it shuts off your testosterone, it shuts down your glucagon, which is a fat-burning hormone, it shuts down your insulin growth factor, which helps your body repair, it shuts down your growth hormone. So again, this is why our program, that eating, why we really stress the eating part, because 90% of people's health issues are caused by what you are eating. So if we don't address that aspect, you're not going to get better. But yeah, so again, this is why these high blood sugar levels, again, affect you, because when insulin is elevated, again, why we test fasting insulin, it gets elevated, it disrupts this whole hormonal cycle and this whole cascade effect. And then it leads people into a lot of different issues and problems. And our job is to try to find the cause of these problems. And so this Dutch test is a really great test, especially when we're dealing with hormones and things like that, trying to get that system straightened out, where the system is messing up. So what kind of supplementation do we want to do, where we want to target, what organ systems do we need to maybe target, so that we'd have to target the brain, the ovaries, the liver, the adrenal glands, so what areas. So we focus in on those, whatever organ system that needs to be repaired and supported, to try to balance these hormones out as we fix the diet and try to get the proper supplementation for them.
And so Dr. Tyndall already pointed out, but Dr. Stuber, why is this an important test, first of all? And then why is it important for men and women to get this test?
Well, this is an important test because it is the most comprehensive hormonal test that I've seen. In most places, it's the most comprehensive test that's available. So the great thing about the Dutch test is women especially are aware that we have many hormones. What's important is not just those.
So are we.
They just don't have as many names for it. Yeah.
And the ratios of those hormones have to be proper. Okay, so you can have like a normal level of one hormone, but then the other one is off. So when you're just running one test, you'll be like, oh, it's normal. But the reason you got a problem is because it's over here, and it's the ratio of the two. So as Dr. Tyndall talked about, the hormonal system is very complicated, and everything talks together. Like when one goes up, one goes down. The brain stimulates the hormones, and the thyroid stimulates the ovaries and the adrenals and the liver, and it's all a feedback mechanism. So it all has to work properly together. What the Dutch test does also, besides testing all the different comprehensive hormones, is it tests what is called metabolites. And what that means is you have hormones. Women especially are aware of estrogen and progesterone. Men are aware of testosterone. A lot of people are not aware that men and women have all three of those hormones. They're not just exclusive to men or women. But in the body, you have what are called metabolites. And what that means is how the hormone is broken down, how it's turned into other things. It's like no one hormone does one thing. It has different processes it goes through, and it goes to many different organs, and it's utilized in many different ways. So the Dutch test will test those metabolites, test what is your body doing with these hormones. So how may it be creating a problem? Or where are you healthy, and what do we need to focus on? Symptoms are often the very last thing to show up. Dr. Tyndall and I have practiced medicine for a long time. And a lot of times, by the time you have symptoms, we really have a problem that we have to fix. There's really nothing more joyful in a practice than to see somebody that comes in and they say, I feel great. I feel great. I'm here to be healthy. I want to stay healthy. And even then, those people, just because you feel great, sometimes we'll still find metabolic things that we need to work on because it's a journey. And I personally feel like we can always do better.
So would this be a test that kind of goes with, we almost always end up talking about preventative at some point. Like, so is this one that you take as a preventative measure, or are there specific things to look for that you need to take this test?
It's more of in my opinion, it's more of a symptomatic indicator. Like for women, I'm going to talk women, like say we're having fertility issues or hot flashes or hair growth on the face or, weight gain that's not explainable.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a symptomatic thing that would indicate, hey, we might have a hormonal imbalance.
Yeah.
There may be a history there like PCOS or things like that.
So Dr. Tyndall, for a man then, what would be something that we should look for if we need to have this test?
Men, usually it's like weight gain, especially around the middle, a low vitality, low energy, of course, lack of sex drive, lack of stamina, because testosterone is more than just, getting your male part up and having sex. Right. Testosterone is necessary for men to have good brain function, again, vitality, stamina, all these things. It could kind of, so it helps them to have that energy and what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you get back to that balance get it out of balance, which is again back to usually the sugars. That's why you see men when they're overweight, they get like the man breast, the man boobs, and they get kind of feminized because fat cells make excess estrogen, and that estrogen so it ends up causing heart problems. Excess estrogen causes heart problems, prostate problems, all these other issues there. So for men, you want to have that good balance of those hormones so that you keep, again, that vitality and male health.
And as we've pointed out, this test is comprehensive for both to be able to point out needs and how to fix these things. And
because men and women have similar hormones. We just have them in different levels.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversion, they're all connected. So some convert into the others and the conversions are different. One thing about the Dutch test that I particularly am drawn to is it also tests your neurotransmitters via the metabolism of the neurotransmitters. And I can say in my practice, I see so many women on various psychiatric medicines, mental health medicines. And it's been for the longest time that mental health was a subjective thing, meaning the patient comes in, oh, this is how I feel. Okay, we'll take this medicine. Oh, I don't care if you feel terrible, stay on it for 6 weeks. Now we can test. The Dutch test will tell us metabolically what chemistry are you lacking or what chemistry you have excess, and it can be an indicator. We can use it with psychiatrists or mental health professionals. And the foundation of what we do as chiropractors is work with the nervous system. So I just find that area fascinating because it's just long overdue. I test your circadian rhythm cycles, which also, one of the top things I see in practice is I can't sleep or I'm tired all the time. So you can test that melatonin and serotonin cycle. It tests the hormones for neuroinflammation, stress hormones of cortisol, and I'm scratching the surface. So the report that we get back is, I think it's 52 pages. It takes me 2 or 3 hours to just review the test before I go over it with the patient.
Wow. Well, and Dr. Tyndall, you were talking earlier before we got started about the price difference when there are other people that maybe offer similar test or this test, but New Life Naturopathic is able to do it at a much more affordable rate.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of one of the things that you give kudos to Miriam. She talked a while back when we were first kind of setting all this up. She talked about labs. We need to bring in labs and stuff like that. So she actually went to phlebotomy school, did it. So she'd do blood draws while she worked here for a while. Unfortunately, she's now in Cincinnati, not here. But anyhow, we got into doing labs, and we use a company that does discount lab services to kind of give you an idea of the cost savings. We just recently had Dr. Stuber did, and I was kind of aghast and flabbergasted about what she told me. As a patient, heard about this doctor online in Florida. He only does online stuff. He did the Dutch test on the patient, charged $5,000. Was it, Julie?
$5,000.
$5,000 for the Dutch test, and then did some other simple blood tests, which just basically it was our New Life panel that we do here, but not as extensive, and that was another $1,200. So they're already $6,200 into this guy, and basically he recommended gummy multivitamin and a gummy. This was on what, a 14-year-old boy or something?
I think he's 12.
12-year-old boy.
Vitamin D, gummy vitamin D. Oh, it was so
gummy whole food. And if you ever watch YouTube videos on how you make gummies, you would never put that stuff in your mouth. And it's synthetic, and it's synthetic trash nutrition. But yeah, so that they're in there, and who knows what they charge him for? But this guy's, crazy. So that depends on the test. We have several different Dutch tests that you can do. You can do the comprehensive one or complete, and then there's one that's called the oats, and then there's other hormonal. So basically, you rent anywhere from $600 to about $900. Depends on which specific Dutch test.
You're talking about what through New Life Naturopathic, what it costs.
Through New Life Naturopathic,
right?
Yeah, we charge. Depends on, again, which one. So it's $600 to maybe $900 max. And then our New Life panel, which this guy charged $1,200 for, we do it in our office for basically it's like $390, and plus you get a nice.
It's $390 with the report and with the doctor going over it.
Yeah, functional report and the doctor going over it. So it saves you a ton of money. A lot of patients around here are starting to do more labs in our office. Again, another example, we had if you think that guy is bad that did that, you should listen to what the hospital does. We had a patient a couple weeks ago call and to do she called it the tick test, but basically she was looking to see the alpha-gal test. The hospital was going to charge $7,200. They wanted $2,800 up front, cash. So we do that test in the office, I think it's like $560, maybe $600. So
wow.
It tells you how much money that we see, because we're not here to take advantage of people. We're here to try to get the information to get them healthier. Our goal is get people where they need to be, make it reasonable for them so they can afford to care and afford to be where they need to be.
Yeah, and Miriam, that was a big part of what you wanted to be part of with New Life Naturopathic. Talk about the importance of having this kind of testing, Dutch test in particular because of this episode, but testing of this nature affordable for people. Talk about the importance of that.
Yes, absolutely. As Dr. Tyndall was mentioning, I really wanted to emphasize that when we were first starting out with New Life and when I was working in his office, accessible blood tests and DNA testing and just lab testing, accessible and affordable to everybody. And the best way to do that is to try to stay away from, what hospitals do and pretty much do the opposite. And, when I was pre-med, that was one of the things that just sickened me the most is just the insurance and hospitals and how much they were charging for premiums for just the most simple diagnoses. And so, that's when we looked into, discount lab services and just as a reminder, a lot of the lab tests that we do can also be run under your insurance plan. It's just that that wouldn't be the priority. So that's something that we can also help you with and figuring that out before, during, and after, as far as costs. But usually our discount services can give you up to 80 to 90% off of what you would typically pay even up front before insurance covers on so many tests. Comprehensive panels and specific tests as well. And the Dutch test it's great because it's relatively newer, and a lot of people talk about hormones, and they complain about their hormones, adrenals, and it's all related, and it's all about the balance is what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
The functionality of our organs are all a feedback loop. It's all a balance system. And, to preserve those, we really need to keep up with the appropriate levels and types of testing. Hormones are among one of the most important tests that we do, and the most popular. And so providing the accessibility and affordability was priority for me, and for us, especially as we grow.
Yeah, that definitely sets the New Life team apart for sure. And that's why newlifenaturopathic.com is a good place to go, whether you're in the central Kentucky area and can make it to Elizabethtown to go to New Life Naturopathic, or you can go online from wherever you are and connect with the staff there, and they can get you involved with these testings from home, a lot of them. So that's special, and definitely one of the reasons we do this podcast, to get that information out there. Dr. Stuber, with this particular Dutch test, you talked about how, yes, it is for men and for women, but I know your practice focuses on more on women. So what is some of the things that you hear the most when women come in and need this test? I know we kind of talked a little bit about symptoms and maybe what they could be looking for if they need it, but what are some of the things you hear the most when you want to make sure you suggest this test?
Well, in younger women, I hear about problems with their cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And resistant, meaning they feel like they've tried everything. And around here, at least, what I'm hearing as far as feedback, like they're going to their gynecologist or whatever, and the answer is simply to put them on hormones. Put them on the pill, basically. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know these medicines. Or the IUD with the hormone in it. And basically, you just stop all the normal processes of a woman's cycle. So that seems to be the easy way in their mind, but it's just not natural. So the other big one is pregnancy, fertility issues or difficulty recovering after having a baby. Mood swings is another huge one, and the hot flashes, the temperature regulation. And I've learned through my own experience of temperature regulation, it is a complex process. People are like, oh, it's just my estrogen going away. No, it's a lot more than that. It starts in the brain, and it really takes somebody that does the kind of testing we do. And I say that from personal experience, because it's not just about estrogen.
Well, we've learned pretty much every topic that whatever mainstream is talking about in one area, there's always more layers.
Oh yeah, things need to make sense. Like what we do is we peel it apart and we figure out the why, and then we explain the why. I've said it many times. If you don't see it and you don't understand it, don't believe it. And especially in medicine and with your doctors, what we offer is that communication that I just don't know. I don't know a place that does what we do, because we spend the time and we teach people so that they can be advocates for their own health. And that is our goal. That's the foundation of everything that we do. We set out to help people through education. The hormonal process, what's really nice about the Dutch test is you also can see it. Like we showed you some of the diagrams. I'm going to be honest, most people aren't going to possibly understand it because, like I said, it takes me 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've timed myself, and I've done many of them, so I feel like I'm pretty competent and pretty quick. But I mean, just all the different hormones and then correlating them. Like I said, it's just very complicated, but it's complete. But it's important that, I mean, we literally dissect all of it. That's what, when you have the test, that's what you get. That's part of our service. It's that we dissect it, show you what's happening, and make recommendations. It is simple too. It's a urine test. So for people that are afraid of needles or they're uncomfortable in any way, you get to do it at your house. The directions are included. So, and you mail it off yourself. It's a really, really simple, inexpensive way to get, I counted it. It's close to 500 different hormones, relationships, ratios. There's probably more than that because there's, as Dr. Jindal talked about, there's many different Dutch tests. We do the Dutch Plus, we can do the Dutch Complete. We can do basics. If you want to test just the adrenal or just
There's a cycling one.
Yeah, most of the time we order the comprehensive or the complete because everything is connected.
Yeah. Yeah, Miriam made that point really well too. Dr. Tyndall, so I know that this will be something that you can't answer altogether, but in a general sense, when people get one of these tests and you come back and you say, okay, X, Y, and Z is wrong, or this hormone or that hormone, is this something that you guys can then address with nutrition or supplements or a combination? What's usually the goal once you get this test back in hand with the patient?
With us, when we approach a patient, we approach a patient as comprehensive. We're not here just to sell supplements. And I tell patients all the time, if you're here just to get some supplements, that's not what we're here for. We're here for getting you healthy, and that's again one of the, sometimes that I've had a kind of a reputation, especially in the Amish community. If you don't want to know the answer, don't ask their Dr. Tyndall. He's just going to tell you straight up. Our goal is when getting sick and then getting over that it's not just one thing that happened to you. It's a whole bunch of things that happen to you. So mainly it's your lifestyle. And so if we don't address your lifestyle aspect of it, then why are we here? Because that's, again, 90% of your health issues is from what you're eating. So if we don't address that part, there's 90% of the stuff that's off the table. A lot of doctors don't want to deal with it or do with it because guess what? Nobody wants to change how they eat. We see it all the time. They want to justify having the bad stuff that they have. They're looking for, like I said, Dr. Stuber, some past ones, they're looking for excuses why they can have it. Like, oh, honey's natural sugar. It's still sugar. And so what we try to do with this is we take this information and say, okay, this is what organ system that we need to work with. So like your adrenal glands are messed up. We talked to them about stress management, yoga, exercising, trying to get better, sleep a certain time. We recommend supplementation for those organ systems to support them, to get that functionality back with them. Again, we talked to them about here's our eating program for lifestyle so that it takes the question marks. Like, what do I eat? Well, here you go. Because we get that a big thing. I went to my medical doctor and he said, I need to lose weight. I need to eat better. And they're looking at us like, what do I do? That's again why Miriam and I kind of put the program together, is because people didn't know, people didn't have any answers. And you go out onto Google and you go to some of these websites that are supposedly health websites, and they're not health websites. A lot of them are, and you end up making people sicker and things like that. And our goal is we want you to be healthy. We want our patients to be healthy. And so we have to take that comprehensive approach. And if that's what you want and that's your goal, then we're the place for you. If you're the person that's just wanting some, thinking you're going to get a magic powder, potion, or pill from us, there's plenty of other people out there. Right? willing to sell you that stuff at big bucks.
That's right. And we don't sugarcoat it. That's right. So that's
Hey,
the phrase has been coined and it will be used many more times. All right. Well, this is one, as I said at the beginning, this is a test I hadn't heard of. And so glad to know that New Life Naturopathic has it and is on the cutting edge, as Dr. T said. And so that's, again, another reason that we do Pursuit of New Life, this podcast, is to get the information out there. And yes, of course, we would love for you to come to the New Life Naturopathic family and to find these things out. But we also just want you to know these things are available. And it's not just the medical mainstream machine out there. So we do want you to go to newlifenaturopathic.com. Check it out. See what's there. Go to new-lifeweightloss.com. Go ahead, Dr. T.
And I'd say with our telehealth service that we have with the New Life Weight Loss, or New Life, not New Life Weight Loss, but
New Life Naturopathic.
Naturopathic.com. It's a telehealth service that we work with people all around the country. Actually, we have a couple people that we work with outside of the country. A little more complicated because, it's trying to get the supplements and stuff to them. But all like those lab testing, we can do blood testing in 47 states, except for New York, New Jersey, and Rhode Island. But the Dutch test, we can ship that out to anybody in all 50 states, get the information back. And it's with the technology today, it's nice because we can just email you the report. And once we go over it with you on the phone, you can have the report right there up and on your computer. You can bring it up. So it's really nice.
Yeah, so newlifenaturopathic.com is the place to go for that. If you're watching on YouTube, that's down at the bottom of your screen if you need help spelling naturopathic. So we would encourage you to go there, newlifenaturopathic.com, also new-lifeweightloss.com, and weight loss is in the name, but that's not only what it's about. It's about a lifestyle change, and we'd encourage you to go check that out as well. And so we will come back around and do this again. New Life Naturopathic on YouTube. We would encourage you to find Pursuit of New Life on your favorite podcast platform, because we will not sugarcoat it. We will bring you good information, and sometimes it'll go down a little rough, but you'll definitely be better for it. So make sure you're letting your friends know. So until next time, this has been Pursuit of New Life.
Thanks, Quincy.
Thanks, Quincy.
thanks, Quincy.